Okay.
But
Perfect.
Lucas, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was very last minute, and I appreciate that you've made a little bit of time out of your Saturday to come on and speak to myself about all things music. But before we get started, how are you actually doing?
I'm great. I'm great, man. I am just compiling all basically a triple record I'm going to be dropping soon, which is outlandish. Just working my fucking ass off, working with a lot of great people, great artists,
Yep.
and being a good husband and father, just living
Yeah.
life, brother,
I'm so glad. I didn't realise that you were based in Florida. Florida. I thought you were still in Los Angeles. So I'm glad that you're away from everything that's happening there just now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I wanted to actually dedicate a song to what's going on over there and just give all whatever the proceeds to all the people that are their lives have been turned upside down.
Yeah, it's scary. It's one of those things. Thankfully, over in Scotland, forest fires is the least of our worries. It's so cold and wet here that it's never ever going to happen. But it's
Yeah.
scary. It's like actually watching something as if it's from the movies.
Yeah, it's kind of apocalyptical. It's like I
Yeah,
was watching on YouTube this morning and I'm like my jaw was dropping, man. I'm like, fuck. And Tommy Lee, like, he's one of my best friends and his place, he had to evacuate. So I was like, fuck, man, what the hell?
yeah.
You know?
It's crazy as well because you see it and there's some houses. You'll have five houses in a row destroyed, completely gone, and then it just stops. I'm assuming the wind changes direction and
Yeah.
someone else's house is left perfectly intact.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm guessing that's probably why it's so difficult to probably get it under control.
Yeah, I would hate to be a firefighter or a patron like at
Yeah,
this moment, God give them blessings and
yeah. Fingers crossed things get better there. But we're going to talk about yourself, all things music. But what I like to do with my guests is go back to the very beginning. So where originally are you from, Lucas?
I'm from Toronto, Ontario.
Right.
In
Okay.
Canada.
And growing up, when you were very young, were you exposed to music from a very young age?
No, I wasn't. My father is the worst singer on the planet. But that's kind of yes, I was. But my mother, she would always dance around the house and sing Lionel Richie, and my brother would be down the hall listening to Billy Idol and shit, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I still remember having like a little small record player,
Yeah.
like those 45s, I guess they're called.
Yeah.
And I listen to this, bro. Fucking Eye of the Tiger. That's all that's all. I don't know where it came from,
Yeah.
but I had fucking Eye of the Tiger, and I remember lying on my bed going, "This is fucking awesome! Like, what
Yeah.
is this sound coming out of this thing? Like,
So
I
that
didn't
would,
know.
I'm guessing that would have probably been mid 80s, 86, 87.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 1492. You know, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, like.
Yeah. It's so like a lot of people I've spoke to previously, a lot of them are exposed to music from a young age. Their parents, some of their parents are musicians, but other parents just like listening to music. My own parents, they didn't play any instruments, but they liked listening to music. So there was good music playing in the background.
Yeah.
But you do get to an age where it's usually when you're maybe 11, 12 onwards that you discover something for yourself. Was there a band that you remember discovering for yourself, your own musical taste?
I think it was, well, I grew up in a cul-de-sac area with kind of like the Brady Bunch type shit, like few kids down the road or like
Yep.
house to house. I grew up with my best friends and we all became, musicians together. I remember my friend Grant, he was the guitar player. He was the first one to kind of like get that fire started. He was the match. And it was weird because there's a school across the road from all of our houses, and we were kind of just like messing around with a soccer ball, whatever, and we heard this like in the schoolyard. We were like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
somebody having a party, but it wasn't. It was just this lonesome kid who happened to like plug into the outlet on the exterior of the school. He had this little small amp, and he was just shredded. And my guitar player just ran home, and unbeknownst to us, he asked his mom for some money, and he somehow. He must have been. He could have been a great salesman, never mind guitar player, because he bought the guitar in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably way overpaid, but it was well worth it. Like all of a sudden we were like, "What is that shit, dude? Like, what is that device?" Kind of, what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was so cool, and then we were like, "Do you want to start one of those bands?" How cool is that, dude? And then the rest is history, dude. I wasn't, my band was more they wanted to start it, and I was kind of more into exploring world, because my growing up situation was very volatile, and I actually left home quite early to pursue like something sane, and I just they kept building their craft, and I went from here to there and in search of myself and sanity. And
it's funny. I always find it really fascinating, because we're obviously different sides of the world, but you can still relate to other musicians. It's funny. Like, I remember being would have been maybe about 10 years old, and we're probably of a similar age. We're in our 40s. So I remember my friend came down to the house, and back then it was a cassette player.
Yeah.
Tapes. And he had a copy of a tape. He said, "Put this in."
Yeah.
And I said, "What is it?" He says, he'd obviously just discovered this band, this style of music that he never knew existed 2 hours before. And it was Metallica's Master of Puppets album.
Fuck. There he goes, dropped out of school for sure.
Yeah, so the first song was Battery. And I can still remember putting it on and saying, "I don't know what this is. I don't know what they're singing about. I don't even know what this noise is, but
it feels good."
And you know what? It changed the direction of my life, because it just made me. I just fell in love with music, and of course, similar to yourself, all the friends wanted to buy guitars, and there was a few of us managed to get them maybe for Christmas or that. The parents were good enough to maybe get us a guitar. Nobody knew how to play them, and that was the next sort of battle, was trying to. How do you you didn't have YouTube back then. It wasn't as simple as just typing into your phone how to play blah blah blah.
Nowadays YouTube, you could be how to be a doctor and fucking don't even.
But it's funny though, because regardless of who I speak to, whether it be Scotland, England, Ireland, America, Australia, everybody's kind of got a similar kind of route in life, and you can kind of appreciate, you can sort of see similarities. It's really strange. It's great that musicians can connect like that.
Yeah, human beings,
Yeah, but obviously, I know you're a singer. I know you play the guitar. Which one came first?
It was the guitar, actually. I found a nylon stringed guitar in my dad's girlfriend's house in the closet, and I was like, "What the fuck is that shit?" This is dope. So I opened it. It was like, I opened the fucking, the two folding doors, and I was like, ding dong dong. I went, oh. And then I took it out, and I had no fucking idea what I was doing, but I remember putting my, playing every fret, not skipping. I had no scales. I was just going ding, 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 and then it fucking hurt. And I went, I love that. Because nothing in life comes easy. Yeah. And I played until literally, like the cliche, until my fingers bled. I mean, there was no blood, but I mean, it fucking felt like it.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean, like, it fucking sucked, man. But, you know, at the end of the day, after all that, it was just like this relationship with an instrument other than, you know, people, you know, and it was very personal to me because it was my saving grace. It was my solitude when my life was in fucking shambly, fucked up world, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like my weapon without hurting anybody.
It's funny though, because, I mean, music is different for each person. For me, like, I'm a massive music fan. You know, music means a lot to myself. There's other people where music is maybe just background noise, and there's not a right or a wrong. It just depends on the individual. But it's amazing. It sounds silly when you say music can get you through a tough time, but it can.
It can, and it always will.
Yeah.
Always will. That will never change with the times. You know, it will always be. I mean, you know, for example, brother, like when you watch any commercial, anything, there's always music in the background or a beat, a rhythm, something. Because without it, life just seems
Plain.
Yeah, like it's missing something. Like, you know, like a human missing their eyes or their ears or their whatever, their heart. It's just fucking weird. You know, I make all my music videos as well. I film them all. I play all my instruments and that. But I could make a video that looks so fucking amazing, like Quentin Tarantino type shit, with no music. It's fruitless to me. And as soon as there's anything underneath it, you go, oh, that looks so much cooler now because my body is in sync with the rhythmic, you know, deliciousness of visual and audio collaboration. You know, those two are, you know, synergy.
And I mean, there's playing music, there's creating music, but also attending a concert. You know, I still remember the first time going to a professional concert. And I remember walking into the arena, and the roadies were still sound checking on stage. Now, it was a 20,000 seater arena. It was a big arena, and even just the drum tech hitting the kick drum, and you're feeling it in your chest.
Yeah,
you can't experience that with headphones on at home.
You can't. And those people, to be honest, my brother, they were, when we were on tour with Supernova, I mean, we were playing, you know, stadiums like that, 20,000, you know, and, you know, as much as I loved the fans, I loved the techs just as much, because without those techs, man, those beautiful fans ain't going to hear anything good, you know, and I would always stay after the show. When people were like, oh, fuck, let's go. We got to go to the next show. I was like, no, I need to say thank you to all the lighting guys, the fucking front of house guys, the fucking drum techs, the fucking guitar techs, all that shit. Because without them, bro.
I mean, the band, the 4 or 5 members are the face of it. Yeah. But there's a huge family behind it that make up the entire production of it.
Absolutely, man. There's
no
questions about it.
You started with a guitar. Are you pretty much self-taught?
I'm all self-taught.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did the vocals then come in?
As soon as my drummer, we would go out when I was much younger. We would go out and like we'd find he would have like some marijuana and shit, right? You know, you go out. I'm fucking, I got a little dime bag of weed. And we'd go out and like, it'd be like, you know, kind of sneak out. And we would go across the place I told you where my guitar player bought the guitar across the road at the store.
Yeah.
We'd go there and just, you know, smoke a little joint. And my drummer would go, Luke, do that opera shit. And I'm like, what do you mean opera? He's like, you know, they're like, oh, I go, oh, I do that. And you go, oh, that's so sick, dude. And I thought I was just doing it for a joke. And he's like, it's not funny, dude. Like, not many people can do that shit, bro. Like, I go, yeah, you can. You got a fucking voice. What do you mean? And he tried. He went, So it was really cool. You know, he pushed me to see that thing inside of me, and Yeah, John, thank you for that, my brother, because I wouldn't be here
Yeah.
today.
And what about? So you're obviously playing in bands throughout your teenage years, and for yourself, and it's again no right or wrong answer. It's different for each person, but what is your process when it comes to writing a song? Do you have a process? Do
Um,
do you start with chord and do
I
the do
I
the
start I
melody
start with the
last?
drums. I start with the drums
Right.
because I think without a rhythm, that we're all rhythmless, and there's no point. There's no destination,
Right.
And then I'll put guitar, and then once I get that, and I go, oh fuck, and now I hear some melody. Then I'll record the vocals. So I'll do drums, guitar, vocal, and then I'll add the bass, and then
Right.
I'll add strings. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then I'll overdub vocals to like just layer, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and if that don't work, you go into the next song.
And,
It's
and
limitless.
see your lyrics. If I was to sit and read your lyrics, would I know exactly what you're talking about? Does it pretty much tell a story start to finish, or is it a little bit more vague that each person
Yes, it's very.
might take something different
Yes,
away from it?
that's a very. That's the coolest question I think I've ever been asked in any interview in my life, bro. Because I don't like to be so definitive where it's just fucking okay. Well, it's kind of like someone says you got to read this book. It's so great, but they tell you what the whole book's about. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't want to know that. I want them to have a piece of us together. Like yes, there is a premise, but there's also many instances of different parts of my life that I've thrown into the basket to that just happen to be relative to that song per se,
Yeah.
and that's the coolest thing. I don't like stories. Like you might as well just get an Audible book, fuck
Yeah.
that. Like
It's amazing. One of my favourite bands is The Doors, and obviously they're known for Jim Morrison, his poetry, and he refused to tell people when people asked him what is the song about. He
yeah,
refused to tell them. Now you could maybe argue that he was so out of his face half the time. He maybe didn't know himself, but he liked to say, "Well, you listen to it and you take from it what you think it is.
exactly.
The next person will do the same. The next person will do the same." And again, it's the beauty of music that there's not a right or a wrong answer. You might go and listen to a song and you know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah,
But then there's another great thing where I think it was Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam
yeah,
when he said when he wrote Alive, it was about one thing, but
yeah,
over time the message in it's still the same message he's singing,
yeah.
but it's changed meaning over time.
Yeah, because it probably like clicked something in his brain that he never thought about before.
Yeah.
But after certain things in his life, I'm sure he was like, "Wait a minute, fuck!"
I think it was the song Alive where it said originally singing I'm Alive was like a fuck you. It's like, I'm surviving.
Yeah,
Whereas now it's almost, he says it's like a celebration. It's
yeah.
completely flipped around when he hears everybody singing it 30 years later. It's amazing.
But those two things are also congruent. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
one is a personal thing and one is like a struggle thing. But
Yeah.
they're both for the same person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And here's a question. You obviously, you write, you record songs, you also, you perform. If you had to pick one or the other to do for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
To perform or write?
Yeah.
Well, I think those two for me go in tandem. I don't know if I could answer that. I mean, it depends who I'm writing for, because I write songs for many people, like
Yeah.
3 Days Graces and 1,000 Foot Crutches. A lot of people, but that's way different than if I were to write a song and not want to perform it.
Right,
It would
okay.
be weird because, then what the fuck did I write it for?
Mm-hmm.
Just for personal consumption for the public? I've never been like that. I don't write music to make $1. I write it because if I don't get this shit off this chest, I'm fucking
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Yeah. I mean, if I was to ask myself that question, as much as I like performing, I think it would be writing the songs, because if I couldn't get them out of my head, I think it would drive me
Go
crazy.
crazy. You go crazy, bro. I mean, a
Yeah.
real musician would go fucking nutty,
Yeah.
you know?
Here's a question as well. So you're obviously
You'd end up in the Pope too much.
exactly.
Hey.
So here's a question for you. Here's a question for you about your vocals. So I do singing, but I'm first of all I'm a guitarist, right? I've got guitars that are 30 years old, and they're still as good as the day you got them from the shop. You know, I've taken care of them.
Yep.
They're stored correctly. Every now and again they'll get a clean. You restring them, and they sound.
Every now and again to give a clean. Come on, give me the down low. How now and again? Do you gotta
Once a year.
scrape off the fucking finger fucking gnarly shit after a while with a fucking
Scraping off all the sweat that's over it.
Oh fuck, I know it's the worst. I need those strings that have the fucking what are they called? They have the coating.
Yeah.
Because I sweat like a fucking asshole, bro. Like crazy. Ugh.
But here's a question: like I'll play the guitar just now, the same guitar that I got 30 years ago, and it still sounds as good as the day I got it. Now, with your voice as an instrument,
Yeah.
you can take care of it. You know, you can do all the fancy stuff, steaming your voice. You know,
I don't do that. I never have.
honey lemon, whatever. But your voice will naturally age over time. How is your voice today, and how do you think it compares to 20 years ago?
Oh, it's you know. Forgive me for commenting on my own voice because it sounds egotistical, but it's 10 times better. I listen to myself in my first recordings. I sound like a chipmunk, you know. So it's like, it's almost like I was sucking helium through like a huge balloon, and then over time it fucking dissipated into this small balloon. The balloon's gone now. So now, I mean, my voice originally, like at the beginning, I didn't even consider tone, right?
Yeah.
So tone, I found out halfway through my career is, if not like more important than how high you can go, how low you can go, how long you can sing.
Yeah.
You know, my endurance was first. That was the first thing I needed to understand, because you could blow your voice out if you sing improperly. You know, if you don't use your diaphragm and you're all throaty the whole time and you're gravelly, then trust me, and don't fucking drink on tour if you have a singer like that, because you're fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, tone and endurance were the hardest. The tone thing was the hardest thing to grasp, because you know when you hear your voice on an answering machine, or like you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But when you're leaving the message, you're like, that's not fine. I sound fine. Like, you know, until you hear back, and then it becomes an issue, at least for myself. So yeah, I think that over the years, it's only gotten stronger, and I'm just more attentive to and weary about every delivery or performance I do, like singing wise. Not when I'm talking, because I'll probably hear this back and go, fuck, I hate my talking voice. You know?
It's okay. I've got the Scottish accent, so that could probably throw people.
No, I love it. Do you watch that show Outlander?
Yeah, it's filmed about 20 minutes from the house.
Oh, fuck. I'm going to come visit you, but I want to fanboy out oh my God. I want to meet Sassenach. I swear to God. I love her, bro. Yeah. That's my favorite show.
So, Lucas, obviously, I first heard of yourself across this side of the world, Rockstar Supernova. So I'd watched the show the previous year when it was in INXS were looking for a singer.
Yeah.
And then the show came back. I enjoyed the first year with INXS, but I looked forward to the second year, the one that you were in.
Yep.
Because I'm a rocker, you know, so you've got Metallica, Guns N' Roses, you know, Tommy Lee, all those cool guys. And I'll get your take on this, because I've spoke with all the guys from Duke Cartel, quite a lot with Toby.
Yeah, my boy.
Who you're still really good.
I love him.
Yeah, and I've spoke with him quite a bit, and I got his take on it. So what I had said to him was, I think the show was filmed around 2006, but there must have been a delay because I don't think it was shown in Scotland until 2007.
See, that's funny you bring that up because I thought it was filmed 2007. So I don't understand.
Well, I looked it up when I was speaking with Toby, and it said late 2006, so it maybe went into 2007, but it definitely wasn't shown on the television here until 2007, like summertime.
So yeah, if it crossed over, that's the weird part because I don't remember any Christmases at that point.
Yeah, but what I'd said to Toby was, I went back, and you can go on YouTube and rewatch the episodes. So I went back and rewatched a couple of them just to kind of try and sort of remember.
Yeah.
And looking back, the question I asked him was, once he joined the show, and it got started, I asked for his opinion. Was it a band looking for a singer to create a legitimate band, or was it more a television show?
No, they were looking for a band, man. I just, after that tour, after I guess won, whatever, it just seemed to me there were certain member that me and Tommy were just not like, we're not going to do that again. So I wanted to, I mean, I've written a bunch of stuff on Tommy's records after that, and vice versa. We've collaborated a shit ton. It just wasn't the ideal avenue for me at the time. Like I after that tour, I immediately went out with an acoustic guitar, a 12-string and a 6-string, and by myself, and toured all across America, all through Canada, but like in my own like SUV and shit, like grassroots, because I needed people to see like this is not some television bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so what age were you when that show started?
71 and a half divided by 3/4 of an 1/8 inch.
And see, when you think back to it, does it feel like yesterday? Does it feel like a lifetime ago?
No, it feels like yesterday. That's when you said 2006, I went, what the fuck? It's crazy, dude.
It's going to be 2020. That'll be like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I look amazing, don't I? Tell me.
Just like the same, man. But I liked it. I can't remember. I mean, I don't know. I think you've got it over in America. You've got all this X Factor stuff.
That shit's freaking.
I don't think that started. I think this was before all that began. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, that was way before. Yeah.
I liked the idea of the show because it was playing with a live band. It was playing good songs.
And a great band.
Yeah, and it was also, it was aiming towards something that was meant to be legitimate rather than it just being what you find.
Talent contest, yeah.
Yeah, what you find here with things like the X Factor.
Oh my God.
It would always be that, apart from it being pop music, it would always coincide with the show would finish in time for the person that won it to get the Christmas #1, and then they would generally disappear after that. Whereas this kind of aiming towards a band, it showed you guys. I like the bits in between where you're like, right, you've got an opportunity to go and write a song or listen to a song and write a verse and a chorus, and it actually showed you doing legitimate
like
band things.
Songcrafting, Yeah, but that went away. Mark Burnett is a genius. I think he knew after the show that I won that he could, there's no way you can fucking top that. He had 2 killer runs, and they both got, better, right? And then it's like, after that, you got to try something new. I mean, he went from Survivor to, that, and then he went to The Voice, and so on and so forth. I think I was just very lucky, and it's crazy, man, because I didn't want to do it at first. I thought it was Van Halen looking for a fucking singer. I'm like, I can't do that. Like,
so how did you get involved with that? How did they just advertise looking for people to?
No, a friend of mine who worked at EMI, my publish, I just got signed to a publishing deal, which, you know, was saved my life. Thank God for my manager at the time who knew somebody in the business and blah, blah, blah. But I was living on the street, like in Montreal, and busking and like just trying to fucking live and eat, you know what I'm saying? And I had this Razor phone that had like maybe like 9 minutes left on it. And I got this call from Barb Seaton, and I was living in a bowling alley, an empty bowling alley, freezing, dead of winter, minus 40 degrees in Montreal, fucking covering myself with newspapers and shit, bro. Like, fucking not a cool situation. And I got a call, and she's like, "Hey, there's this thing that came up, and they're doing auditions for this. I believe it's Van Halen looking for a singer." And I went, I can't. Like, you can't replace that singer. Like, that's that's stupidity. Plus, you know, and forgive me, everyone listening to this, I don't really like Van Halen, so it wasn't my cup of tea, you know. But then a week later, she called back. And I was like, I remember looking at the call, and I'm like, fuck, hopefully she doesn't ask me again. And then she goes, oh, I was wrong. It's Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, and Jason, who's from Metallica, and Gilby of Guns N' Roses, blah, blah, blah. And I went, yes, I would love to do that, but I don't have any money. Like, what am I going to do? Are they coming to the bowling alley to you know? And she goes, no, don't worry about it. I'll pay for your plane ticket. You just go out to Vancouver and audition. I think you'll do well. And I went, are you sure? I'll pay you back. Thank you. And brother, I remember getting to Vancouver. I was in a hotel, and I went, where's the pub? Like, I had to go to the pub. So that night I went to the pub. Next morning at like 10 a.m., I went to the audition. It was literally like diagonal across the road. Like, it was in the pub I had the drink where the audition, which was so fucked up because I remember the smell. I was a little tuned up that night, so you know what I mean? so check it out. And they say go into this, each individual would go into this room, and it was just like this thin stage with a one spotlight and all like dark, pitch black. And I'm like, what? Hello? In front of the mic with an unplugged electric guitar Telecaster, unplugged, and a mic. And I go, hello? And then I hear, yeah, play. And I go, I know somebody's in this darkness here. And I just played Headspin because I just wrote it like a couple months ago. And I hear like clapping, right? And I'm like, where?
Where's it coming?
It's that dark, right? Because that light is so bright and shit.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the fucking faders went up, and there's Tommy and Jason. They're like, that was fucking awesome, dude. I was like, thank you. And then Jason goes, why are you so sweaty? I go, a few too many pints last night, bro. I'm sorry, man. Like, it's just, and that light is hot as fuck.
But,
and that's what happened.
See, when you watch back the show as well, I don't know if it's the way it was edited or because I already know the outcome of it.
Yeah.
But it seems obvious from watching it from the beginning now that you could already guess who the final 4 or 5 were going to be. You
know, that was just, I guess, great casting, man. You know what I found really funny? And I always get that shit in interviews, like, was it set up? And I'm like, bro, do you think dude, I was homeless. I'm not going to go to some set up shit. Like, if I knew at any point I wasn't going to fucking like be awarded or rewarded for my hard work and like my musicianship, I'm fucking out. Cause I got my life to get in order back home. Right. So it was, you know, it's funny at the first episode, watching it back, I never knew until afterwards. The first episode, like, they go through the whole lineup, like the camera runs down all of us, and I'm the last one.
Yeah,
and you know, that was like, I went and bought that white jacket because they give you a few bucks to like go out and like buy some stuff and but you're budgeted only a few $100. So like, if you want to buy fucking ice cream, then you're an idiot. Go do something for your career. Yeah. So I went right away to this fucking Arab place that sold all these suit jackets. And I was like, oh, look at that white jacket. It's dope. I was like, let me try that bitch on. Like, I was like, word. It looked good. And then, honest to God, brother, like they set it up like that. But when I saw that, I went, so they do think I'm dope, because I could have been in the middle. I could have been at the first, and I was the last performer of that night, if I'm incorrect. Right. But it was really cool. But that also gave me a lot of stress, dude, because I was like, fuck, okay. Now people are like, their eyes are on me. I got to be like always on point.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing that Toby had said was there was so much cool stuff happening when the cameras were switched off. So he's saying like Jason would come across and he would just hang and he would jam and do all this sort of cool stuff. But I
didn't jam with him.
I don't mean jam, just sort of sitting like kind of just getting to know each other. But lots of cool things that it wasn't for the TV show. It was in between filming.
Yeah. There are episodes. What are they called? The mansion episodes where you could watch all the behind the scenes shit, which is crazy. I didn't like any of that because as soon as the band members would come around the mansion and shit, like, because they would come unannounced, bro. Yeah. And just to see if like to see the way people's personalities were not being filmed, because anybody could put on some bullshit. Yeah. Jason happened to walk in one day and the camera kept following me and shit. And it was annoying the fuck out of me. And it was trying to show me, because I was always getting a pint, I guess they're trying to make a story like, oh, he drinks a lot of beer. And I grabbed this fucking camera. I go, whoosh, I threw it in the pool. As soon as it went, psh, Jason walks around the corner with a little fucking dog. Like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, motherfucker. But I don't give a fuck.
And how was it? How was it going on tour with them? Because I assume that biggest thing you've done, like anything up to that point, it paled in comparison.
Oh, no. I mean, that was life-changing and taught me a lot about responsibility and a lot about the fans, man. Like, at that point, it wasn't about me anymore. This was about a lot of people who have paid their hard-earned fucking money to go leave their kids at home to get to the concert, babysitter, whatever. All that stuff really hits you, man, because these are real humans. And I wanted every fucking moment to be the most amazing shit they'd ever seen. Like, I bought a fucking... those lights that they put outside of nightclubs where they shine in the sky like a Batman signal shit? Yeah. Like, it'll blind motherfuckers. I did. I brought one out on stage. I came spinning out on stage, going, and the whole stadium lit up. Yep. Almost killed myself, but it was awesome. Like, I loved it. Like, I wanted it to be... like kind of going to see Avengers the first time. You're like, I want it to be like rivetingly
something to remember.
Yes. Yeah. Even if I was, injured in the meantime, that's well worth it, bro. I mean, I remember I had like these very, very expensive silver pieces that were made for me. And I remember spinning around like stuff like, and my, a ring would fall off, $5,000 in the crowd. And I'm like, dope. Whoever finds it, you know what I mean? Yep. Like Easter eggs, bitch. Like, that's dope. Yep. Have it. I love it. I love that. Cause I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people in front of me. That's it. So it's kind of like a beautiful type of warfare, man.
Yeah, after doing the TV show, winning it, doing the album, the tour, was there anything you found out about yourself that you were surprised about?
Another good question.
Or was it just simply the fact that you were able to step up and be who they wanted you to be?
I think that's what I was most surprised about, brother. Like, that I
The
was who they
reason I
were.
ask, obviously, Tommy Lee, Gilby Clark, they've got years and years of experience. As much as I'm sure they loved doing it, it wasn't anything new for them in the sense that they've already toured the world a million times.
Well, and that's why I quit after our tour, because I didn't see the fire in certain individuals, and that's why I was like, Tommy, like, I don't.
Yeah, but for yourself though, you stepped up to the plate because at the end of the day, you're still fronting this band. You're the front person.
Yeah.
Did that? I mean, have you got self confidence that you knew all along? I can do this.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready to do this.
Absolutely, man. I've never. I don't know. I don't want it to come off like trite or egotistical. I've never been a follower, and my father told me back in the day. I was like, I have a band. And he's like, Lukas, don't be stupid. You need a plan B. And I go, well, what type of a plan A is if you need a plan B? Why? That means you're all ready to fuck up. You're already set that you're not good enough. Do you need a plan B? Why don't you just make fucking plan C, B, D, D, L, M, to Z?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Fuck. I mean, I chose my passion, and I had a lot of interviews when I was on that show. They're like, you seem very full of yourself and like kind of ego. And I went, no. If I don't believe in myself, who will? I just believe in all the hard work I've put into what I love. And if anybody's better than that, please, by all means, let the band decide. And that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine you can't really afford to have imposter syndrome, but it's not having an ego. It's being confident in your own abilities that you've got.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still like that, and I believe that people should be like that. That's why God put us here, to be an individual, not an imposter fucking type shit.
Yeah.
And don't let anybody tell you that you're any of the lesser.
Yeah. Right, look, it's obviously been quite technical with our chit-chat about songwriting, recording, Rockstar Supernova, learning your instrument away back at the beginning. So what I like to do is end things on some fun questions for yourself. Hopefully some questions you've maybe never been asked before, because I know you've done a lot of interviews. So imagine that you've got a time machine. Imagine you could go back in time anywhere in the world, big gig, small gig, I'll let you decide. What's the one gig that you wish you could have attended?
From another band?
Yeah. Whether it be Woodstock, whether it be a little small gig by Guns N' Roses before they were famous. Like, what's the one concert or gig you wish you could have attended?
I think it would be Huey Lewis and the News and Jeff Buckley.
Amazing. Right, okay.
I mean...
Right. So, as you know yourself, millions and millions of great songs have been written and recorded across the years. What's the one song that you wish you could have sat in the recording studio to witness the band recording it?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Oh, I would have been right in there when they were doing the quadruple vocal.
Yeah.
And I'd have been like, can I just do like, ooh?
Just do that. But budge over, Freddie.
Oh, yeah. I'd be getting him like martinis and shit. I'd be like, does that taste good? Here, try that.
Right. What's the first, your favourite album cover? What's the first one that comes to mind?
Fuck. I gotta say, like, again, Jeff Buckley, man. Maybe My Sweetheart the Drunk. Or, yeah.
Okay. Is there another musical instrument that you wish that you could play?
Piano, better. I could play piano pretty well. Like I can get through it.
Yeah.
But I wish. Yeah, I talk about this quite often when I see like a pianist play, and I'm like, fuck, man, I would so trade my guitar skills for that shit, because that's like two instruments, right?
Yeah.
Guitar is just like, you got, this one is your drums, your strumming, and this one is your melody, right?
Yeah.
But a pianist is like, you got your bass and you got your harmonies. Like, you got bass harmonies, you got fifths, third, everything.
Yeah.
Plus, you got your percussiveness from your intention, right? So,
and then if you've got vocals on top of it,
ooh, it's like a one-man fucking creamsicle, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget about it.
And last question for yourself. I know your answers can probably change every day, but for yourself, who is your Mount Rushmore for bands? Who's the 4 bands, whether it be songwriting, whether it be performance, whether it be the overall package? Who are the 4 bands for yourself that you put at the top of the pile?
That's a fucking tough one, man, because I don't see much personality and individuality or originality anymore. I'd have to be Stone Temple Pilots.
Yep.
Jane's Addiction. Fuck. Damn. Okay, I know I got one more here. I know I got one more in the bag. Who do I like, babe? Oh, and Smashing Pumpkins, yes, for sure. Yeah.
This sounds like all the bands from your youth.
Yes, yeah.
It's amazing, though, eh?
Yeah, I mean, but, yeah, let's be honest, my brother. There has not been anything. Oh, and Oasis. I gotta say, I fucking love those fuckers. They're so good, bro. Because they're just real. Like, there's no bullshit, dude. They're fucking. If you don't like them, fuck off. You know what I mean? They're great.
Yeah.
You know, and they're perfect to me. Like, look at those bands I mentioned. Nobody could say shit about them. Period. They changed the course of our musical, like, revolution, our musical, like, direction. You know, in our time, bro. And you know, I like Pearl Jam too. They're fucking great.
Yeah, but
so there's my 4. Was that 4?
Well, Pearl Jam will be 5, but we'll let you away with it. And,
you're like, Lucas, you got greedy there.
I was like, that's better than Toby's attempt.
Yeah.
I don't know who Toby had been listening to, but his Scottish accent's terrible.
Well, I can't do an Australian one, man. Every time I do, he goes, Lucas, nah. He goes, nah.
Oh, that's good, man. But Lucas, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, getting to answer questions. I look forward to, obviously, your new stuff coming out. What is your plans for 2025?
Put a little real shit back into this fucking YouTube fucking era of, I just want to decimate this AI shit, because I think for people like yourself and I, brother, I mean, or all musicians, it's going to be hard to differentiate between bull fucking shit and real motherfucking shit. And I will always do my own videos. I will always film my own videos. I will always play every instrument in my songs, and I will not give the fuck up ever. And so fuck you, computers. If you think you're going to take over, come get it, baby.
Lucas, thank you so much. And I'll speak to you down the line.
Love you much, brother. Thank you for having me, man. God bless.
Cheers.